What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another review stream as Spurs got back-to-back wins in the Premier League after a really turbulent few weeks as a Spurs fan. Obviously, we're here for the match review, player ratings, 5 takeaways and reacts. But let's start off with the match review. Look, we won 2-0 at the City Ground yesterday, but I don't think that scoreline really told the whole story of the game yesterday. But from your perspective in the stands yesterday, what was the atmosphere like? How was it being there yesterday?
I think the fans, obviously it was a great atmosphere. I think away on a Friday night, everyone was having a really great time. You know, the start of the game, to be fair, we were playing quite well, playing some nice football, but we allowed Forest to grow into that game quite a lot in that first half, and they definitely were putting us under pressure. You know, lots of throw-ins, long throws, set pieces.
I swear we were playing Stoke yesterday.
Yeah, literally that's what it seemed. Although it was weird, his technique, he wouldn't do a run-up. He would just stand there and throw it in, which was quite interesting. But
they had the whole, going over with the towels and the footballs and stuff like that.
They're trying to make the best out of anything they could get. Their winning free kicks in awkward positions. But to be fair, for all their pressure and all the opportunities all the positions they put themselves in, they didn't really create much. The one save Vicario did have to make from Elanga was offside anyway. So I thought we defended well, but I thought Forest definitely set up just to make things very difficult for Spurs. They set up to frustrate us, played 5 at the back, were very physical. Really, it was a really dirty game, the whole game, to be honest. But talking about the first half, they were putting a lot of strong challenges in. And it was very frustrating in that first half, wasn't it? Especially because we didn't take those couple of chances early on. Brennan Johnson then went off injured, Skip came on. So we lost even a bit more, just a bit more like technical ability in the centre to break them down. So it led to a very frustrating first half where, yes, we had a lot of possession, but we were finding it very, very difficult to create really good chances.
Yeah, they were playing in a really low block, every man behind the ball pretty much at all times. I thought Dejan Kulusevski in the middle, even in the first half, was, if anyone was going to make something happen, it was going to be him, to be honest. And especially after Brennan Johnson went off, you bring on Ollie Skip. I was quite surprised by that sub, to be honest. I thought Højbjerg was going to be the first one to come on. And Ollie Skip did come on. I don't think he was great, but I don't think it was a bad performance by any stretch of the imagination. I thought he played fairly well, to be fair, without really, being too progressive on the ball. Let's just put it that way. But I felt like it was getting really nervy as that first half was going on. Sheffield United, not Sheffield United, Nottingham Forest made it really hard to break them down, as you say, and with the limited amount of chances we had, it was all coming from Kulusevski. He plays Sonny in behind. I don't know if that was called offside.
No, I think it would have been on.
Well, it would have been on. But, I think it was all coming through him, wasn't it? And I felt a bit disappointed with, Richarlison was fairly out of the game. Sonny had 2 men on him all the time. It was really hard for Sonny to get involved in the game. So it did free up a bit of space for Kulusevski, and he was working his magic. He seems like a different animal in this mask, I swear. Like, ever since he's put on this mask, he's like gone tenfold the player he was. But
he says he loves it. He says he likes playing.
He should keep it on after the nose heals. To be honest,
I remember who was it? Suarez used to play with a bandage on his. He never had an injury. He just liked the bandage. He just liked playing with it. So maybe Kulu can take some inspiration. Yeah,
obviously when Sonny had the mask, he hated it. Didn't he?
He absolutely hated it. On the floor. But Kane didn't mind it.
No, Kane loved it. I mean, that goal against Arsenal when Kane had the mask on it. I always take it back to that. But look, I think first half was a very frustrating half. We got that goal a bit against the run of play, and it was kind of what we needed exactly at that time, wasn't it? It was a great time to score.
Yeah, and I think it also massively changes the complexion of the game, because all of a sudden, all of Forest's hard work goes out the window at that one moment, because even though they have done a really good job frustrating us, they go into halftime losing. The team talk from Spurs probably changes a bit from, we really need to force the issue more. We need to really up our game to, look, we got the lead. we've got something to manage here. It's a good platform to build on, kind of thing. So I think it changes the messaging from Spurs halftime, and as well as a good quality goal. I know again the Matt Turner, the keeper, doesn't really cover himself much glory with that moment. We'll talk about him even more maybe the second goal, but great ball in from Kulu. We know he's got that delivery on him. We've seen that delivery a number of times from him, maybe not enough, but I feel like maybe now with Rishi back in the centre, he has someone to aim at with those crosses. With Son, as much as I love Son up front, and I think he's a quality finisher, I don't think he gets on the end of that cross.
No.
And I think that's what Rishi gives you, just that presence that in the middle, who's really good in the air, and he's able to get on the end of things and gamble in those situations, and that's what he did. And he carried on his good form. That's the first time in a Spurs shirt he's scored in consecutive games as well. But that was a really big moment in the game. I actually think if we don't score that, I'm not 100% sure if we win that game, to be honest. So I think it's vital that we got that goal going into the half time.
Yeah, I completely agree. But back on your point about the refereeing display yesterday, Destiny Udogie gets booked on the 42nd minute for a shoulder-to-shoulder barge. I thought it was an absolutely ridiculous decision to book him, but not just the decision in isolation. With some of the challenges that were going in from Nottingham Forest players yesterday in that first half, they could have had bookings about 3 or 4 times in that first half, and then he pulls back a shoulder-to-shoulder with Destiny Udogie and books him, and now that has implications because he's suspended for the next game. It was so frustrating as well. Could you see that from the stands, like how much of a non-booking that was?
100%. I remember watching that at the time and thinking that's an absolute nonsense yellow card. I didn't even think it was a foul, let alone a yellow card.
It wasn't a foul.
It was ridiculous from the referee to book him in that situation. And I thought as well, he was letting a lot of Forest challenges go, like hard ones, and like Ryan Yates was an animal.
He could have got booked 3-4 times over.
And he was putting disgusting challenges a few times as well. Son was on the floor getting kicked, and nothing was happening. A few times as well, I thought we should have had fouls in our favour, and the referee didn't pull it up and let the play flow. Yet when we did something, it was dealt with a lot harshly. I think we ended up with 4 or 5 yellow cards yesterday.
We had 4 yellow cards before and a red card before they could even get a booking. One booking.
Yeah, their first booking
was
Murillo,
booking in the 82nd minute,
which is ridiculous. They were playing a really dirty game. That was their game plan: ruffle us up, stop. Remember back in the day when. Arsenal under Arsene Wenger, that's what teams used to do against them. Like when they couldn't match them on the football pitch, they just used to try and kick them off the pitch. I felt like that's what Forest tried to do yesterday. And for a lot of the time it was working, but our quality shone through, luckily enough for us. We had the quality, especially through Kulu. To be honest, Kulu was the only one who really stepped up and won us the game yesterday. If it wasn't for him, again, I don't think we win that game. But yeah, I thought Forest were really cynical, were really dirty, and the referee let them get away with it for a lot of the game. That was really frustrating.
Yeah, it really was. And he started in the middle in that number 10 position, Kulu, which I thought he looked our best player hands down when he was in that position. He moved over to the right hand side when Skip came on and Brennan Johnson went off, and again I thought he played that position to the top quality. He shifts in on his left and gets that cross in for the first goal, and for the second goal uses his right. Finally uses his right. I've been calling it for so long. Fine. It was a bad mistake by the keeper. Goes completely through him. But at least he's using it, and it comes off.
But not like the shot lacked power, was it? It had a lot of power in that effort. And it was very interesting to hear, because I don't know if you saw Kulusevski's interview after the game. So he was talking to Sky Sports, and they mentioned, you scored with your right foot. Was that a surprise to you? And he said, I took the shot on my right, and my right is very underrated. But he said something very interesting. He said it's not underrated by other people; it's underrated by me, because I don't use it enough. I should shoot with my right foot a lot more than I do, and I don't trust my right foot enough. And that's what I got to do. And that's something we've been saying for a long, long time. He's got to use his right foot a lot more, because it's not as if when he uses it, bad things happen. He's usually quite good with it, but he just doesn't trust it enough.
United now today, that I can't remember any other times this season he's taken a shot with his right hand, with his right foot. Yeah, this season, Sheffield United in a clutch moment. Yesterday in a very important goal, he uses his right foot. How many times have I said this in the last few weeks? Like, the reason Dejan Kulusevski is so frustrating on the right hand side is because he does the same thing every time. He has a quality right foot. He needs to use it more, and yesterday was evidence of that.
And hopefully he's starting to recognise that more clearly by that interview as well. Starting to get more goals, adding goals to his game as well. Our 5th goal of the season for him. And I just thought it wasn't just the goals though, was it? It was just his all-round play was absolutely exceptional. I just felt like he gave us a focal point to aim at. Whenever we were under a bit of pressure, we could give it to Kulusevski. He could hold the ball up. He could even create chances out of nothing. He nearly scored a goal late on as well with a chance he completely made for himself. And especially when we were down to 10 men, his work was invaluable, wasn't it? And I thought we put a proper shift in for the team. And I just thought it was another exceptional performance. And I think he's in great form at the moment. He's having a really good season. And I think he's now really starting to add those goal contributions as well. I think he's already matched his goal contribution tally now from last season. Obviously, he only got 2 goals, but I think it was 2 goals and 5 assists to get last season. Now he's already on that this season. So he's on 5 goals and 2 assists. So I think he's playing really well. And I thought that was more evidence of that yesterday. But obviously, second half, we got the goal. But then not long after we got the goal, that goal proved very important because Bissouma gets himself sent off. And all of a sudden, we're under the cosh again. And we know the pressure's on and Forest are pushing us back and creating chances from set pieces. Vicario made a brilliant save from a corner. What
a save that was! That was point blank range.
I don't know how he kept it out.
Point blank range.
I thought it was in. Look, I mean, it was on the other side, so it was hard to see. But
me and Barnaby watching on TV thought it was in.
It was. I don't know how he's kept it out. Obviously, Forest did have a goal ruled out for offside, but I think that was before the second goal. But again, I have to give credit to the defence because they did put us under pressure and they did ask a lot of questions of our back line, but I think we came up with the answers every time. And if anything, we probably looked just as dangerous on the counter than they did to score against 10 men. So I think definitely credit to the team for how they adjusted to going down to 10 men.
And I think that Ange kind of managed the game really well yesterday because we go down to 10 men. And everyone's got in the back of their minds that Chelsea game when we go down to 9 men in that extremely high line. But he didn't need to do that this time because we were 2-0 up. We had the game in the palm of our hands. So he looked at it. People say outside of this club, Ange is naive, Ange is this, Ange only has one way of playing. But I felt like we saw a different side to Ange yesterday that we probably hasn't seen all season. We go down to 10 men. We do drop deep. I wouldn't say we dropped really deep, but we dropped deeper than we have been pretty much all season. And I felt like we managed the game really well from that point on. And Cuti Romero and Ben Davis both stood up for the team admirably well.
100%. And the amount of clearances Ben Davis made with his head, the ball is getting swung in time after time, and he's clearing it. He's beating Chris Wood in the air. I don't know how he's doing it, but he's winning challenge after challenge. And it was a really impressive performance from Ben Davis at the back because it was not easy circumstances, and he was able to just deal with everything that came with him. Romero as well, I thought he was exceptional, and I thought everyone really dug in and put in a shift. Maybe similar to the Luton game, potentially is the only other time I can think of this season where we really had a performance like that, where we had to dig in for a result and really make sure we got that clean sheet, and we did that. But in that Luton game as well, obviously went down to 10 men at 0-0, and we kind of went attacking for a bit to get the goal. We got the goal, then went defensive. Obviously, at this point, we were already 2-0 up, so we went defensive straight away. But as I say, with 10 men, we probably had some really good chances as well. Kulusevski had that really good chance, which Turner saved. Skip had a moment which I don't know why he didn't shoot. Looked like he was in on goal, and then he kind of tried to find Sarr at the back post. But we had a few openings where it looked like we could create some really promising moments, which was important, I felt, because it's important when you're under pressure that you make sure the opposition has something else to think about, that they can't just keep putting you under pressure and pouring men forward, that you hit them a couple of times just to make them think that they can't commit too many men forward, otherwise you're going to get another goal. And I think we did that because I thought we actually created a few really good openings even with 10 men. So I think we played it to perfection, to be honest. I thought we defended really well. I thought Ange brought some solid players who were covering lots of ground and making sure we weren't conceding any chances. And then going forward, I thought we combined on a few occasions just to create a few openings, just to make sure that we kept that some attacks going, so that Forest didn't feel too comfortable as well. So I think I wouldn't say it was comfortable, but I thought we definitely earned those 3 points in the end.
We did, but look, we got to talk about Bissouma putting us under pressure once again this season. It's his third separate suspension so far this season. It's not even halfway through. Yeah. We are missing him now until pretty much most likely the end of February, until the end of the AFCON, whenever Mali go out. Sent off against Luton, put us massively under pressure that game. Sent off yesterday, two stupid sending offs, man. Like, yesterday was completely his own doing, right? Lazy touch or a bad touch, and he tries to recover the touch, and his studs go into, I can't remember which player it was, his knee, basically. I thought Yates'
probably
knee
deserved it, to be honest. But yeah,
look, Yates deserved sending off himself, to be fair, but look, we can't focus on that too much. We can focus on Bissouma though, because he is our player, and it's just stupid. Like, why do that? Why? What is the point? Like, if you do a lazy touch, then recover in a different way. You don't need to go lunging in with your studs.
100%, and it's becoming a bit of a pattern now. Obviously, as you say, third separate suspension. Especially, it's happened in times when we've been in control of the game or been on top, and there's no need to put our team under pressure. But I have to say, there's becoming a bit of an issue, I would say, with the team in general in doing things when we're in control of games to just shoot ourselves in the foot. And it's not just even disciplinary. It's not even about cards. I mean, cards has definitely been an issue. Bissouma's red cards, and obviously the two against Chelsea were 1-0 up, and we just, self-destruct and commit two red cards. But it's also stupid mistakes as well. I mean, that didn't happen yesterday, but there's been a pattern this season, I feel, where we're playing really well in games, and then we just do stupid things, whether it be a red card or do a really bad mistake at the back, and it's been costing us a few times. Thankfully, yesterday it didn't cost us, but we have to shake off this I don't know what it is, but this tendency to kind of put ourselves under pressure when we're in control, and it's becoming quite frustrating. It's happened in so many games now where we've been in control of games, then we just do something really stupid out of nowhere, and we either give up a goal or give up a player a red card, and all of a sudden it changes the complexion of the game, and it puts ourselves under pressure. And other games it's cost us results, but yesterday it didn't. But it definitely cost us like control of the game. All of a sudden, Forest are back on top and gaining momentum. So Bissouma's definitely needs to sort himself out on that front, because some of these challenges are just completely reckless and stupid and completely unnecessary. It wasn't even like it was Luton are about to score and he just takes on for the team. It was just a stupid, unnecessary challenge. Sorry, not Luton. Forest. I'm saying, like, it wasn't even a situation where they're about to score and he just takes on for the team. It was just brainless, yeah, completely unnecessary challenge in the centre, completely reckless, and I can't really defend that. And now we're not going to see him until February, so it's really going to hurt the team, him not being there 100%. It's not going to be a great situation, but we just have to stop this tendency. And I think Kulusevski as well, he mentioned it in his interview yesterday. He was saying, look, the football we play is top, but there's something mentality wise which we need to sort out, because we keep doing it to ourselves this season. Maybe, I don't know if it's youthful, maybe it's a young team and they're maybe they don't know how to manage games sometimes.
Bissouma's not a young player.
He's not a young player, but he's not the only one who does these stupid things as well. But obviously he's definitely been guilty of
I think he's been the biggest culprit though.
Potentially, you could probably argue that, but I think as a team we need to, I think Ange needs to try to sort that out, because in the future it's going to cost us even more if we don't really get to grips with why we keep putting ourselves under pressure, when this should have been like a normal. I mean, look, at the end of the day we did win 2-0 and we was fairly comfortable, but we shouldn't have needed to have such a scare near the end with that red card. It wasn't necessary.
Yeah. Just very frustrating that we have to go through these kind of motions, and it feels like it's just who we are, mate. Because this is like
who we are.
This is like following us around ever since I've started following Spurs, to be honest. These kind of moments and actions, but I've never seen Spurs have so many red cards at this stage of the season before.
Yeah, 4 reds already. It's crazy. And also, we've had a few suspensions for 5 yellows as well.
That was Udogi's second suspension of the season, because he got that red card in the Chelsea game. He got 5 yellow cards now. Pape Matar, I think, is 1 away now. Coutinho Romero is 1 away.
And he's already had a suspension.
So, I mean,
Bissouma's had 2 suspensions. Yeah, it's nuts.
And you know what? Bissouma, after that great start to the season, first 10 games, I've been saying it for the last couple of weeks that he hasn't been up to scratch. Yes, it was a much better performance against Newcastle, but that is kind of like more the exception to the rule than the rule, because after the first 10 games, he has not been anywhere close to that level apart from potentially the Newcastle game. So at what point do we sit here and say, well, Bissouma's not having a good season?
I don't know. That's for each to have their own opinion. I would still argue he's having a good season. I didn't think he had a bad game yesterday. I just thought he had a stupid moment.
I don't think he had a good game yesterday.
I wasn't that disappointed with him. I didn't really think.
I mean, I didn't really notice him in the game yesterday. I thought, I don't know. I don't really think he did much throughout the game, to be honest.
I don't remember, apart from that moment, too much bad from him.
Yeah, fine, not too much bad, but what you associate with Bissouma in the first 10 games is showing initiative, getting on the ball, being dangerous, driving through the midfield, winning the ball back time and time again. Like, this is a shadow of the Bissouma that we saw in the first 10 games.
Yeah, can't argue against that.
Like, that is what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying he's been absolutely shocking and he's been a liability. Well, he is a liability when he gets sent off and gets suspended consistently. But in terms of the Bissouma that we saw in the first 10 games and what we need from him and what we want from him, this is not Bissouma from the first 10 games. It is nowhere near. So, you can't say he's having a good season when he's consistently putting in these kind of performances and he's not reaching those levels which we know he can reach.
I mean, he's had more good games than bad games, so I don't know.
Just about.
It depends about what's a good season. I don't know. I'm not here. I'm not going to sit here and say he's not had a good season just yet. But I think he's definitely not in a good way. That's for sure at the moment.
Yeah. All right. So I think, look, we closed out the game really well. 10 men once again. We had to go through the motions, but I think we did the job well. But it leaves us in a really precarious situation going into this Everton game. Because you look at the back four that we had to play at Wolves. I know Romero wasn't at that Wolves game, I don't think, but we had Emerson left back, Davis left centre back, Dyer and Pedro Porro. It's not going to be too dissimilar to that. And Emerson left back converting into the midfield most likely will be the case against Everton, a really good Everton side.
To put Emerson centre back and Davis.
I said that in the fan show yesterday. Actually, I would prefer to do that, to be honest, because I think that Ben Davis inverting into the midfield will be a lot better for us than having Emerson there. Just because Emerson just won't be able to keep the ball. At least Ben Davis is good on the ball.
And maybe Emerson will be a bit better if he's next to Romero as opposed to next to a Davis, where he might be a bit more of a leader there. So maybe there's a shout, but obviously it's up to. Obviously, against Wolves, he decided to select Davis as centre back, didn't he, and Emerson left back. So, but then again, he's shown he can definitely change it if need be. He's not married to anything, so he'll do what's best. But I think I would also prefer Davis there. I'm trying to think of the dynamic that Everton play with. What will be best? What would be best to try and make sure that we're containing Everton and kind of suffocating them? Would it be to have Davis there or Emerson? I think you can look at it two ways, but it's going to be an interesting selection. And obviously, Bissouma's out, so Højbjerg's probably going to come in unless he thinks Skip's going to play the six. It'll be interesting to see what he does in that midfield because he's obviously Brennan's going to be back. Hopefully, it seemed like Brennan's going to be.
Brennan
okay.
will be fine. I think he said Brennan no concussion.
So, what kind of midfield do we play? I'm guessing it's just going to be Højbjerg, Sarr, and Kulusevski. I guess so.
Yeah, I think that will be. That
probably makes sense. If
I think that. Unless he goes, well, he could go for Skip because Skip was the first one to come on yesterday. And actually, out of the two of them, I actually think Skip was better than Højbjerg. But he seems to prefer Skip a bit further up the pitch.
That's the thing.
Number 6.
He didn't come on in the 6, did he? He came on the 8, and he's definitely preferred Højbjerg in the 8. So I'm going to assume, but that's still a team that can beat Everton. I know Everton are in great form, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy game and we're definitely going to win. Even with our best team right now, I think Everton could probably give us a game. But I look at that team and I don't look at that team and think, there's no chance we're beating Everton. I think we can still go there and win.
Pape yesterday, I thought he was really poor early on, actually, with his passing, playing us into trouble quite a few times in the opening stages of the game. But I felt he was growing into the game, and especially when we went down to 10 men, he was kind of invaluable to us for a bit with the energy that he does have in midfield, wasn't he?
Yeah, really stood up for us. 100% agree. He was a bit sloppy early on, and it was putting us under pressure, and it allowed Forest to gain confidence and get up the pitch and get across in the box and stuff like that. I think it wasn't just a consequence of him. I think the whole team, apart from maybe Kulu, was just struggling to keep the possession away from Forest and play through them, basically. And it was difficult. But I did think he grew into the game and ended up having a really good game in the end, actually, Pape. And it's not the first time he's done that. It took him a while to grow into it. But as you say, when they had the extra man and he had to really put in the afterburners, go up a gear. I think he did that really well, and I think he did really well as well when we're on breakaways late on to just give us another option and make sure that we're offering a bit of threat. He was one of the ones breaking to the space, making sure he's doing that running, and that running, what it does is it forces a Forest player to follow him as well, and so it just forces him back a tiny bit, and it just relieves the pressure a bit. And I thought he did a really good job with that kind of stuff. Yeah,
absolutely. But look, it's great to get back-to-back wins in the Premier League. On the weekend, it's going to be a very difficult game next weekend against Everton, but I guess we'll focus on that when it comes around. But in terms of back-to-back wins in the Premier League, it's so important. Like I told you a few days ago when we were previewing the game, like we need to get the maximum amount of points that we can before this AFCON, because losing, well, we've lost Bissouma now already, but losing Sarr and Heung-min Son, it's going to be so hard to navigate that month of January. So no matter how good or how bad or whatever we play or what situations that we put ourselves into, 3 points is the utmost of importance. So we got the job done, didn't we?
We did, and it was really great to get back-to-back wins. Great to have a clean sheet away from home as well. I know Forest are a team low on confidence right now, and they're struggling for goals. I think they've only got 1 goal in their past 4 games or something like that. So I think potentially if we were playing a team who's had a bit more confidence and maybe has been scoring more goals and were a bit more of a goal threat, it could have been a different result. Thankfully, we weren't, so we got the win over the line.
Or if that ball fell to anyone but Willy Bolly at the back post.
Yeah, potentially as well. Those things that can happen, and I think we got away with a few situations, but I think at the end of the day, we probably deserve, on the balance of play, we probably just about deserve the result. We deserve the win. And
when you look at it, right, we scored both our goals at the most important times in the game, right at the end of the first half. And you say if we don't score that, you don't think we go on and win the game. And as well, the second goal that we scored just before the sending off as well. So 100%. Both those goals came at like the most perfect times in the game. And as well, Elanga gets that goal ruled out for offside just before we score that second goal too.
Yeah, so it kind of went for us, obviously without the red card, but a lot of situations did go for us. But I think sometimes when you're having an off day and you defend correctly and you make sure you're not conceding too many good chances, and then when you're going forward, even though you're not creating loads of chances, when you have that ability to show your quality and make sure that you just get that couple of goals, show the bit of quality. Out of the first goal, brilliant piece of quality from Kulusevski. That's what made the difference in the end, and that's what good teams do sometimes. When you're having an off day, you still make sure that you're putting yourselves in a position to win the game. And I think that's what we did yesterday. So I'm delighted with the team. Tough circumstances, we got the win. We'll take each game as it comes right now, because it just seems as though with each good result and each positive thing, there seems to be a drawback somewhere with an injury or a suspension or losing another player or whatever. So we just got to take each game as its own separate challenge right now. But we've put ourselves in a great position, 5th, level on points with Man City, who play later today. So I couldn't. We're only 4 points off top. I know Liverpool play Man United, Arsenal play Brighton. They've still got to play. They got to get their points. But right now, we're in a very good position. I'm looking at the table and I'm looking up. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Just imagine if we beat West Ham like we should have done, and what position we would be in right now. But look, I'm very happy with the way the season has progressed so far. It's just a shame, the circumstances that we're going through this season with the amount of injuries, the amount of suspensions. Imagine what it could be like without, even just half of those. But you can't really complain about it too much. We're in a very good position. Ange is doing a brilliant job. I thought he managed the game perfectly yesterday. Some of the players really stood up for the team. Richarlison banging in the goals, 3 goals in his last 2 games. So there's a lot to cheer about at the moment. So let's just keep on this run. That is your match review. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below.